Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Pyromancer here, and we got a lot of big news today. Strap in, get ready, and if you're not here for spoilers or anything, like if you're the type of person you don't want to know like what's going to be coming in the next patch, then you might want to steer clear of this video because there's going to be a lot of information revealed that we have learned today in the patch 7.3.5 PTR build. Now, one of the first things that I even want to touch on before we start talking about the new features and stuff, I seem to have stumbled across this NPC that is quite a familiar face. And before we get into anything, I want to let you know that we have actually seen this NPC before. Now, I am here in Silithus 7.3.5 PTR. We have the wound in the Earth's crust, which is seemingly starting to heal. The wound is not looking quite as bad anymore. It's not as red. It's kind of going to an orange color. There's this blue aura around it. We have an Alliance camp, which is located beneath me here. We have a Horde camp located over there. And then we have the entrance to the zone from Ungrow Crater from the east. Now, this NPC has actually been in the game for quite a long time, and she always says the same thing. But given that this is completely destroyed, this whole area really that I'm standing at has been reworked in the destruction of the zone. This character is placed very deliberately here by Blizzard. Now, she has very interesting dialogue, and if you've ever spoken with her before, she actually used to reside in this tower back before the destruction of Silithus. She says the same piece of dialogue either way. Her name is Raloshan, very close to Theroshan, which I think is very interesting, the Eternal Watcher. She is a night elf, and we are going to talk to her. Now, she says, "Greetings, traveler. It was here, nearly 1,000 years past, that the Karaji began their march of destruction across Kalimdor. Thousands of lives were lost during the war, most in this cursed desert during the initial invasion. I am one of only a few that remain, chained to both the past and the present. I know not why I am to remain stationed here, but I know that I must." So we ask her, well, how do you know? I've been slain 100 times. I always wake here, alive. Some say I am cursed, and others? Well, what do they say? They say that I am blessed, a herald to hearken in a new age. If she was to be blessed by anyone, I would think that it would be Elune, moon goddess, as she is a night elf, and she is eternal. She's the Eternal Watcher. And Raloshan, a very, very night elven name, isn't it? Very, very Elunesque. And then you say, and what do you say? She says, "Ancient forces stir, forces that have not been seen or felt for thousands of years. The world weeps, human. Perhaps a new sundering comes. A sickness born from within. The foulness has begun to seep into our lands. From the dream come nightmares. Nightmares to befoul us in our waking hours." And I think this is super interesting. I have a theory about the dream and the nightmare and the old gods and Nyalotha and all of that. If you guys haven't seen that, it's a 42-minute video. I invite you to go check that out if you've got some spare time. It's one of those things you can throw on and kind of listen to without actually really having to watch, but if you watch it, it makes it a lot better. But anyway, I think this is very interesting. She actually, I read a little bit about her on Wowpedia here. Raloshan the Eternal Watcher is a level 60 night elf affiliated with the Cenarian Circle, who can be found at Staghill Point in Silithus. She tells a story about her role in the War of the Shifting Sands and its aftermath. Now, she says the exact same thing, even back then. And then in Legion, for some reason, there's a section that says, "It would seem her watch has finally ended." I don't know where that comes from. As we can see in 7.3.5, she still is very much intentionally in the game. This is not something that was left in by accident. She is put here intentionally. And moving on from that, I want to just throw that out there. People thought that this was maybe talking about the shattering before, like way back when this dialogue with her first happened. They related it to the shattering. However, she's back again. She's died and she's come back once more. And so I think that this is a very cryptic hinting at something that's happening. I don't know if it's talking about Sargeras' corruption coming into the world. I don't know if it's talking about Cthulhu and the old gods, since she does talk about the Karaji. I am not sure, but perhaps we do see the awakening of Cthulhu from this act from Sargeras. Only time will tell. Now let's explore a little bit. Going down here to the Alliance camp, we can see that we have Khadgar, by the fire, minding his own business as usual, has no dialogue, nothing to say to you. Then we have the leader tent of SI7 with Nolan's speed in it, with a map of, strangely enough, Warlords of Draenor. You see Spires of Iraq, Shadowmoon Valley, all these different things. Very, very interesting. Not really sure what the purpose of this is, but it is here. Now, moving on, there's really not that much else in the Alliance camp, but I want to remind you that you can see the Alliance aren't really mining anything right now. They're not really doing anything. We do have a Silithid researcher here, Tammy Tinkspinner. Moving on from that, we can get into the goblin stuff, the horde stuff. Now, coming down the mountain here, not the mountain, the crater, if you will, we come across a building, or a little tent over here with some goblin schematics. And when we approach it, you can see here, hopefully I don't aggro the stupid bird again. There's a bird that flies around here. There are some schematics on the ground from the goblins, one of which seems to be like some plans maybe to get into Stormwind. Here's that freaking bird again, every friggin' time. See ya, bird. Sorry about your luck. It looks like some schematics, a plan to somehow infiltrate Stormwind, maybe. I would assume this castle is like, it's very clearly human architecture. It looks like maybe some plans to get into Stormwind. We know Sylvanas wants to get into Stormwind, but just an interesting side point. There's another one here that looks like a collection of shredders, bombs and stuff that are all collaborating to this X, this thing. We're not really sure what this is, but the most interesting one is this one, which looks like there's some small bombs and then one really, really big bomb right here that seems to be pointed at something. Now, I was trying to figure out on the map like what this could be pointed at, and based on the folds, it's really hard to tell like what it's exactly aiming at. I gotta really like turn my head and like look at that in order to really see like what that is aiming at. But either way, I can't really tell. But, you know, just with my speculation, it could be Teldrassil with the bomb that happens there. Could be some land masses right here. They, you know, could be this mountain range and this mountain range, and Darnassus is the X that's right between them. Right there, you know. I mean, I don't know. It's just some speculation, some interesting things that I found there. There's a weird building down here that if you go into it, there's this, like, music playing. You can hear... It's coated with bananas. Banana wallpaper. Interesting. Come out here. Moving down here, we can start to see some of the crystallized blood of Azeroth, as Blizzard has mentioned to us quite a lot. Literally riddled with Bilgewater goblins, which, if I'm not mistaken, Bilgewater are... I don't remember if they're neutral or if they're horde aligned. I want to say they're neutral, I think? I don't know. I'd have to look into it. Don't quote me on that, but there's clearly SI7 operatives down here sneaking around, doing some sneaky stuff among them. I am in combat. Oh god, this is not good. This is no good. No bueno. Uh-oh. My keybinds are not set up correctly, so this is just not going well for me. Really? Okay, moving on. We can see the Bilgewater obviously dicking around, messing around with some stuff. We don't really know what that is. So we do see SI7 operatives around here kind of looking around. There seems to be some bombs, some explosive kind of stuff that they're working on here, but we don't really know. And these boxes do have horde insignias on them. So I would assume these Bilgewater are going to be aligned with the horde. So... going over to the Horde camp up here. Pardon me for the Bilgewater thing. There's so many little different goblin factions. We have the Horde area. One thing I always thought was really weird is these pillars have moons on them. These Karaji pillars have like moons embellished on them. I think that's kind of weird. But anyway. Coming over here, we have the Horde camp. Of course, with Khadgar. And then Grawl Warblade, a Horde commander. We have some goblins messing around doing some stuff over here. Obviously always sketchy. That's kind of how the goblins just operate, making little rockets and stuff. Okay, with a seat attached to it, so it looks like maybe they're looking to make a rocket to propel someone into something. It's not the first time we've seen something crazy like that. Opening her little map there. Yeah, looks like our map that we see. We got a nice calendar here. Okay, courtesy of the goblins. Okay. And obviously some weird testing, so just some weird stuff going on here. Goblins are always up to some spooky stuff. So aside from that, there's some other great things. We're going to look on Wowhead and check this out. So Wowhead covered a lot of it. There are in the patch 7.3.5, not Legion pre-patch, not Battle for Azeroth pre-patch, none of that. They actually have now allied race backgrounds. So we have Void Elves here, obviously. We have Nightborn, we have Lightforged Draenei, and then we have, of course, High Mountain Tauren. All races that currently it would make sense for us to start building reputation with. The racial ability icons have been added. This could mean that we get allied races this expansion, some of them, before we even go into the next expansion would be sweet. We have the Seething Shore here. One thing that really confuses me about the Seething Shore, which is a battleground, is that it doesn't match anything. This is not part of Silithus. People think it's a part of Silithus, but it's not. When you look at Silithus here, well, you can't see it on live. When you look at a map of Silithus, there is no area, really, that exists around Silithus to represent this area here. So I don't know exactly where the Seething Shore is, but I don't think it's in Silithus. I'd love to hear your thoughts on where you guys think it might be. Moving down, they put right here, they put Silithus Brawl. I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know what that's supposed to say. Lightforged Draenei Swamp. They have some maps in there for the starting zones, so that's really cool. New character creation icons. And then we have warboard zones. Now, thing about these warboards is the way that I take this is these are very likely like missions that you follow. It's like a mission board. Basically, you pick it up and you pursue missions through it. That's what I would imagine. However, there is about approximately 80 different zones that are depicted in these pictures here that we could potentially be going back to. Now, think about this. The Sundering and the Shattering, two of the most cataclysmic events in the history of WoW, are what shaped Azeroth and changed the zones as we know them today. Now, what if I were to tell you, Blizzard talks about how great this new you can level wherever you want system is going to be. But how relevant is that if you're just still going back to old crappy zones that don't have anything updated? You're still going back through the zones. They're not updated. It would be boring. Now, what about the idea that Blizzard actually revamps some of the older zones, like some of the really older ones? So like some of these ones, for example, revamps them so that the leveling experience is not only fresh, but the actual things that we see in the leveling zones are fresh as well. Fresh models, new things updated. I think that would be great. Now, they talk about how you're going to be leveling in BFA through these faction-locked zones, but I would not be terribly surprised if we found out that they actually redo a ton of actual current zones, especially since Raloshan does hint at the possibility of another Sundering. They did also add some icons for like the store and stuff. There are some mounts, I believe, if we go back up here, that you can check out. Here's the whole thing about it, is that the whole point of this is Blizzard is throwing things at us. We have bear forms for High Mountain Tauren, travel forms. They're throwing things at us that they didn't really tell us that we were going to get, and they didn't really tell us when we were going to get them. And so it makes it very exciting to have it immediately available to us. One thing that I want to point out, which is a little weird, the embassies for the Alliance and the Horde have changed. Rathian, once again, is now absent from the PTR. Rathian is no longer present at the Alliance Embassy. I'm curious as to why. I don't know if Blizzard felt like we were figuring too much shit out, and so they scrapped it, and so they're no longer there. But actually going there, listening to them converse, seeing what they have to say is very interesting. If I can get a clip of that, I'm going to throw it in the video right here. But with that being said, I'm just very excited, you guys. I don't know. I don't even know what else to say. There's achievements coming in for unlocking Lightforged Draenei, Nightborn, the Void Elves, and so a lot of this stuff, we're going to be getting a lot more content way quicker than we thought we were going to get, which means the content drought that people are suspecting between the end of Antorus, which right now seems like a really easy raid so far. I know it's just heroic, but literally so easy. We face rolled the whole instance, so easy. we might actually get a shitload more content before BFA than we realize, and that is super exciting. Blizzard has been saying that there was more story to tell with the Legion storyline moving out of Antorus, and so I think we're going to learn a lot more. But you guys, I can only cover so much in this video. I can't rant forever. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What are you most excited for? What caught your eye the most in this? And what else would you like me to talk about? I have some big speculation coming up here revolving around the Fire and Teldrassil and the invasion of Lordaeron, heavily focused around Gen Greymane, so stay tuned for that. That's going to be a video that's going to be a lot longer. Might have to wait till tomorrow to get that out, but I'm excited to just share this stuff with you guys. So drop a like in this video and subscribe to my channel if you feel that I've earned it. And if you guys would like to, leave a comment. Let me know what's going on with your thoughts. I do have a Twitter and a Twitch page, which you will find links to both down in the description below. And I do have a Patreon. If you guys want to just support me every month with a couple dollars, $5, $10, even $1, you're more than welcome to go and check that out. I'll have a link to that in the description below. The last thing, I'd love to invite you guys all, everyone watching this video, no matter what country you're from, to come and join our Discord. I do have a link to that in the description. It's just kind of a lore crafting kind of Discord, hangout, discussion. It's not meant to be compete with anyone else or anything. It's just something that we did for fun. So feel free to come join. I do often sit in the voice chats and talk with people. It's always a lot of fun, and you'll get new video announcements and things like that over there. I also have not forgotten about the 30K subscriber giveaway. That's something I'll be doing here coming up shortly. I just want to figure out how exactly I want to structure it to make sure it's fair for everyone. But with that, I am done ranting. I appreciate and love you guys very much. Until next time, I will see you. Peace.